Hello there, tech enthusiasts. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Tech Talks with J Square. I am your host, Jenna Jones. If you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, like this video, and leave me a comment after watching. So we are in the digital age, the information age, and data plays a crucial role in modern organizations today. And they have data being generated from a number of different sources. And for a second, think about how much data we have on the personal level and how valuable that data is to each of us. So today we're going to talk about structured and unstructured data. Both types of data are valuable, and organizations today have far more unstructured data. Think for a second about all the data being generated from technological advancements such as social media, wearable devices, mobile apps, chatbots, multimedia streaming, and so much more. So understanding the strengths and challenges of both types of data enable organizations to get the full benefits of all types. And it also drives the type of storage solution that they implement and software tools. So let's dive a little deeper in this topic and explore what distinguishes structured from unstructured data. Let's get started. Well, hello there. We are going to get started talking about structured and unstructured data. Wow, things have changed. I've been in this game for such a long time, and just to see how things have evolved. Back in the day, we didn't have social media. Think about how we communicate in this new world order at work, how we use tools such as Zoom, WebEx, Slack to chat with our colleagues, to do screen sharing. So data is being generated from a number of different sources, and data is everything to organizations. I mean, even on the personal level, think about how important your data is to you, your budgeting files, your text messages, your family photos. Those data files are equally as important. Now, think about organizations who have a huge responsibility to their customers. And think about, for example, Amazon.com and all of the data that they have about you. They have your address, your purchase history, your credit card information, so much sensitive data. So data is crucial for modern organizations because it empowers them to make more informed decisions. It allows them to gain a competitive edge over their competitors. And data-driven insights allow companies to identify market trends, to be on the forefront of innovation. It helps them understand their customer preferences. Like I told you, think about Amazon.com. It looks at your purchase history and makes recommendations, and it gives them so many advantages over their competition. So the ability to effectively collect, analyze, and leverage data has become a cornerstone for success in today's business landscape. So we are going to talk about structured and unstructured data. These are two of the most common data types for modern organization. And it's no longer either or. Most organizations use or have a combination of both types. Okay, we are going to look at the differences between structured versus unstructured data. And if you are a white-collar worker or a knowledge worker, you more than likely have worked with both types of data, or you're certainly familiar with both types. So structured data is exactly how it sounds. It is data that is very organized. It can be displayed in spreadsheets, rows and columns, very similar to what we see in Excel. And Excel is one of the most popular business applications that organizations use to manage and manipulate numbers. And then another example of structured data is relational databases such as Oracle or SQL. So structured data, numbers, dates, and strings, and it is estimated to be 20% of enterprise data according to Gartner. Now, this is very different than years past. Years past, most organizations' data was very structured. But of course, it is a new day and data is being generated from a number of different sources. Structured data requires less storage resources, of course, because it only makes up about 20% today. And then we look at unstructured data. Wow, things have changed. Think about how employees work today. Many employees are remote workers, and they communicate with their colleagues through tools such as Microsoft Teams, Slack, email. This type of data is considered unstructured data that cannot be displayed in an Excel spreadsheet through rows and columns or some type of relational databases. It includes images, audio, video, word processing documents, emails, and here's a big one, social media posts. Think about all of the data that organizations generate from social media posts. And just about every organization today has some type of social media presence on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, on Snapchat. And then, we're talking about chat logs. Again, this speaks to how we work now. Most of my communication with my colleagues is through Slack or Teams, where I am sending a chat or even a text message. And unstructured data is estimated to make up about 80% of enterprise data today. And what this means is that it requires more storage, and it is also very difficult to manage and protect with legacy storage solutions. So this is why structured and unstructured data is so important, because it also drives the type of storage solution where this data is going to live in the organization. Is it going to be stored on a SAN or some type of external storage array? Is the NAS the best solution, or maybe even object storage? So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, let's look at some real world examples of structured data. Again, we mentioned earlier relational database tables. Examples could be SQL or Oracle database, and a real world use case may be a healthcare database. When you go to your doctor, they more than likely are using information technology. They may ask for your name and your birthday. They punch that in and it will bring up your health record, your address, your date of birth, your social security number, any allergies that you have. And I'm sure they are able to pull up all of your health records, your doctor, any medical tests that you have taken. That would be an example of a relational database table. You have a patient, and then in a row or a column, you have different data points about that specific patient. And then data in spreadsheets that are organized in rows and tables. We see this with Excel spreadsheets, a very common business application that is used by organizations. It could be something as simple as a budget file, with your income, your expenses, things of that nature. And then data related to customers that are stored in what we call a CRM application. And organizations use a CRM application to manage their customer relationships. If you purchase a car and it's a car dealer, they may have a CRM. It may give them all the information about your purchase history, your name, your address, what type of vehicle that you own, your service records, when was the last time you purchased a car, examples of that nature. And then we have financial data stored in balance sheets. Organizations report this information to Wall Street, their balance sheets, their income statements, cash flow statements, or some other type of accounting software. So these are for real world scenarios of structured data that most modern organizations use today. So we're going to look at examples of unstructured data. And again, wow, have things change in the world? I've been in this game for almost 3 decades now, and many of the data points that you see here on the slide were non-existent those back in the day. So when you look at text data, you're talking about documents, emails, social media posts, instant messages, text messages, blogs, audio data, voice recordings. I do voice recordings on my iPhone through the voice application. You have music files, podcasts. You can even record telephone conversations. And believe it or not, organizations can also record your telephone conversations. And then we have images, photos, graphics, video chats, WebEx. You can record a WebEx session. And then we have machine logs. IT environment is very complicated sometimes, just depending on the size of the organization. So IT uses log files to diagnose problems with the system. You have server logs, system logs, and of course, these relational database applications also generate logs. And social media posts, I mentioned that earlier, but this is the big one. And think about all of the social media applications we have today. We have Twitter, or formerly Twitter, now X. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have Snapchat. And I'm sure there are so many more that I did not name. Oh, I forgot about Threads. That is a new kid on the block. So social media is huge. And like I said, just about every organization has a social media presence on multiple platforms. So we're going to talk about something very interesting, and it is some of the challenges of unstructured data. And it is estimated, like I said earlier, that upwards of 80 to 90% of the world's data is unstructured. And this is mainly being driven by social media and remote work, how we communicate with each other in professional and personal settings. So managing unstructured data poses a number of challenges for organizations. Number one, lack of organization. Unstructured data like text messages, images, videos, they lack a predefined structure, and this makes it very hard to organize and categorize data compared to structured data when it's nicely organized in some type of table or a row or a column. Limited searchability. So retrieving specific information from unstructured data can be very challenging because there is no standardized way to search through it efficiently. And when you're talking about the vast amount and the volume of unstructured data, very challenging. Data quality. It may have varying levels of quality and reliability, and this can lead to potential inaccuracies or inconsistencies, especially if you are making decisions based on your data. Your data has to be quality, it has to be reliable, because you cannot make decisions based on bad data. And then there are scalability issues. As volume of this type of data grows, it becomes more challenging to scale and maintain efficient storage and retrieval systems. And we're going to get to what is the best storage solution for this type of data. It's going to come together really quickly. And then here's a big one, security concerns. And we know that security is everything. Remember, we talked about organizations have such a huge responsibility to their customers. Their reputation depends on it. They may pose or face legal issues. They have a huge responsibility because unlike you or I, who's only responsible for our personal data, they are responsible for the hundreds to thousands of customer data. Many of that data is very, very sensitive. So protecting sensitive information within unstructured data is very complex, okay, because it exists in different formats and maybe in different locations. And this increased the risk of unauthorized access or data breaches. And then analysis complexity. Again, to get the most use of your data, you need to be able to analyze it. So analyzing unstructured data requires advanced techniques like natural language processing for text or computer vision for images, making it more complex than structured data analysis. Now, AI and machine learning is definitely helping in this area, okay? And then we also have integration difficulties. So integrating unstructured data with existing systems, sometimes maybe legacy systems, can be challenging, again, due to the diverse formats. You have text, you have images, you have chats, you have logs. So it's coming from a number of different sources and in a number of different formats. So it makes integration very, very difficult. So addressing these challenges often involves employing advanced technologies as well as tools for data management, analytics, and security. AI and machine learning is definitely helping in these areas. So we are going to talk about storage consideration. What is the best enterprise storage solution for unstructured data and structured data? Okay, so it depends on a number of different factors. One, what type of data is it and how is the data organized? Is it a relational database? Is it unstructured data? Well, that will drive the type of storage solutions. For example, should it be stored on a SAN, NAS, or object storage? Scalability and flexibility. So when we look at unstructured data, just because it makes up between 80 to 90%, that is a large amount of data. So it needs a lot of scalability. Access and retrieval speeds. Structured data, relational databases such as Oracle or SQL database needs fast data access. So when that server that's running that SQL or Oracle database requests data, if it lives on some type of external storage, it needs to be able to serve that request back up to that server very, very quickly. Metadata management. Is metadata needed? And metadata is simply data about the data. So let's use an example. Let's say you have a digital photograph, metadata that may be associated with that digital image may be the date and time the photo was taken, the model, camera that was used, the file size, is it 1080p, 4K, 720p, and things of that nature. So that is what metadata management is about. And if that is required, and that's generally associated with unstructured data, so that will also drive the storage solution. And then cost consideration. So we are talking about the vast volume amount of unstructured data. Organizations want cost-effective storage solution that is going to allow them to store, manage, and secure that data in the most cost-effective way as possible. So what is the best enterprise storage solution for structured and unstructured data? So we have three different storage solutions. We have storage area networks, which I've talked about on this channel. I have an intro to SAN video, so make sure you check that out if you're not familiar with this technology. And then we have network attached storage and object storage. Well, storage area networks are really good for structured data and business applications that need that high performance, low latency, and direct block level access. Is really good for CRM applications or Oracle or SQL database. Not really good for unstructured data because it does not organize data or make data easily accessible and searchable, or allow users to collaborate on files like we see with network attached storage. So a NAS is generally a good solution for unstructured data that is accessed frequently, such as files, it could be documents, could be images, could be videos. And it supports day-to-day business operations because it allows easy and quick access to files through familiar file system interfaces. Think about how you search for data or files on your Windows machine. So data can be shared on a network share, on a NAS. Users can connect to that share. They can work on their documents and things of that nature and collaborate on files. So NAS allows for easy and quick access, make it very simple for users to access and manage their data. So when you're talking about unstructured data, NAS is the way to go because it has a file system. Storage area networks does not have a file system. And also a NAS solution, think of a NAS as a high-end server. You can also set up access controls. So if you want to set up a network share for your HR department and you only want certain users within the organization to be able to access and work on those documents, well, network attached storage is the way to go. And then we have object storage. Now, object storage, not sure whether you are familiar with it, but it has been around for quite some time, but it has become very popular in the last few years because, again, organizations have so much unstructured data and they need more cost-effective storage solutions, and object storage fits the bill. So when you're talking about dealing with large amounts of unstructured data, such as big data, backups, and archival data, object storage is a very, very good use case. And it also supports metadata. We talked about that earlier. Data about the data, and we're going to talk about when to use NAS versus object storage because these are two of the best solutions for unstructured data. So we are going to talk about the best storage solution for unstructured data. And we have two choices. We have network attached storage or object storage. So what is the most appropriate solution? When do you use a NAS versus object storage? Well, it depends on the use case. For example, network attached storage is really, really good for collaborative work and shared file systems. It's ideal for workloads that involve multiple users accessing and modifying files simultaneously. For example, you may have a file folder on the network for your HR department. So the HR department may have a network share and multiple users in the HR department go out there and use common documents that they access, update, modify, or even delete. So NAS is really good for storing file data such as documents, media files, photos. It's great as a central repository for those type of documents. And it's quite frankly easier to manage. So when do you use an object storage? Object storage is generally a cloud-based solution that stores data as objects. So NAS data is stored as files. Object storage, the data is stored as object. But object storage is best suited for massive amounts of unstructured data that is highly scalable and is accessible through APIs such as a URL. So this type of data can be accessed through a URL through the internet, and is best used for data that is less frequently accessed and it's more complex to manage, much more expensive. So really the choice, in my opinion, comes down to what are you going to be using the data for? How are you going to be using the unstructured data? NAS solution, great for workloads that are collaborative, sharing documents on a network share. Object storage is really good for use cases such as backups and archive data. Videos, images, massive amounts of data. One really good use case to think about is Netflix. Well, Netflix have massive amounts of unstructured data in the form of video files. So a media streaming company, object storage would be the way to go. A small, medium, or large organization that wants to share files on the network. They want to set up access controls. They want to be able to organize and search their unstructured data. NAS is the way to go. So I hope that made sense to all of you. NAS versus object. Again, most organizations use all three: SAN, NAS, and object storage. Okay, so I want to talk about very quickly some of the potential of unstructured data. We talked earlier about some of the challenges, and there are a lot of challenges just because we have so many different formats of unstructured data, and they are coming from so many different data sources. But unstructured data holds significant value and potential for organizations, offering them a rich source of diverse information in different forms: text, images, videos. So effective analyzing unstructured data provides valuable insights. It helps drive innovation. It helps organizations make more informed decisions, and businesses can leverage this data for personalization, enhancing customer experiences. Think about all of the insight they get from social media, insight into their customer preferences. And think about Amazon.com. When you purchase a product, it uses that previous purchase history to recommend other products that you may be interested in. Okay. And organizations can also gain such a competitive edge by unlocking all the potential of their unstructured data. However, harnessing this potential requires robust data management strategies. So it's critical to make sure this data resides on the right enterprise storage solution. They also need advanced analytic capabilities. So they're going to need the right set of software tools. And then there also needs to be a focus on data privacy and security to fully capitalize on the opportunities presented by unstructured data, because organizations have such a huge responsibility because they store hundreds of thousands of customers' sensitive information, and that data needs to be secured. Okay. And then I'm also excited about the role that AI is going to play in unlocking the potential of unstructured data. So through natural language processing, machine learning, and computer vision, AI technology can analyze and interpret unstructured data, and extract valuable insights from all of these different data formats and sources. Okay. So I'm looking forward to see what the future holds, especially around AI and machine learning as it relates to unstructured data. Okay. So just want to summarize. I hope you enjoyed this very short lecture on structured and unstructured data. So just to recap, structured data provides a reliable source of information for decision making. We have relational databases such as SQL, Oracle, Excel is a great example of structured data. And then we have unstructured data that contains valuable insights that may not be found in structured data from social media, text messages, chat logs, server logs, and so many different formats. So organizations need both types are valuable. And again, I go back to the Gartner report. 80 to 90% of organization data is unstructured. So we have to deal with the challenges that unstructured data brings to unlock its full potential. Okay, so I will see you in the next lecture.